Welcome to the Journey of CyberLogic, a guide to Final Fantasy XI, Episode 19, Divine Might. Now today, we will continue working through endgame content by taking on Divine Might, a fight that used to require an alliance of 18 people at level 75 to defeat. Now today, we'll be trying to take it on solo at level 80 with trust. Now before we get into that though, let's start by talking about the prerequisites for this mission. Now to get access to this fight, you need to be on Zelart Mission 14 or beyond, and you start by flagging the quest by talking to the blank spot just inside the Shrine Ravitau's main entrance. You will need to click on this blank spot 2 times to trigger the proper Divine Might quest to appear in your log. We now need to create an Arc Pentasphere. Now to acquire this, we will need to buy a parchment off the auction house and then head to Romav to take on either Cursed Puppets or Magic Flagons until an Illuminink drops. Then, with the parchment and Illuminink in hand, you now want to head to the spring at H6 in Romav that you're seeing here during a full moon. Now, between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. on a full moon, this fountain will fill with fluid as you're seeing here, allowing you to create the Arc Pentasphere needed for entry to Divine Might. We now have everything we need, so let's head up to Sky. Before you do so though, make sure you grab some re-raise items and head for any of those outer small items in Sky to enter this particular battlefield. Now as soon as you enter, you want to put up re-raise and a solid food. I recommend Seafood Gratin for its accuracy, evasion, and magic evasion boost. For trust, we are still rather limited at this point in the amount of them that we have, so therefore you want to make sure that you use Valnariel to tank to kind of grab hate on all of those angels at the start of the fight. You also want to make sure that you have lots of solid healing in your group. So I recommend using Yoran Oran, Korumoru, and King of Hearts for your healing. Now if you don't have Korumoru yet, you can use Kupipi instead. I also use Shantoto for extra DPS in this run, but an argument can be made for using another healer or even a dancer such as Liliset 2 or Uka Tothlin if you happen to have them unlocked. Note that if you lose this battle, you're going to need to acquire another Arc Pentasphere, more than likely waiting till the next full moon. So you really want to make sure you're prepared before you head in to the battlefield. Now in order to reliably take this fight on solo, you want to use several methods to allow you to take it on at this level. So I will go through all of the things you will need to know while you watch me take this one on. Let's get started. Now first, it's important to note that including pets, you're going to have a total of 7 mobs attacking your group during this run. Now anytime you get that number of mobs attacking you, there are delays when it comes to things like engaging, swapping between mobs, or even just getting frozen in place while many actions are being performed. Now you need to anticipate these issues and plan your actions far in advance as to not get yourself killed during these transitions. This is most important during the first few minutes of this run when there's so many mobs on that battlefield. Now it's also important in the order that you kill these mobs in. With the strategy I'm about to show you, the order I recommend you kill in is Arc GK, followed by Arc MR, then the Wyvern, then the Tiger or Mandy, whichever pet was summoned, then Arc EV, then Arc HM, and then we finish with Arc TT. Now at the start of this fight, you want to make sure that your shadows of course are up, and that all ninja buffs are also up, and then carefully tiptoe onto the battlefield until you see the angels start to move. As soon as they do, run right back up the stairs. Now make sure your trust aren't on the stairs before you initiate this action, or they may impede your running up those stairs and trip you up, getting you killed. Now once you get near the top of the stairs, you can go ahead and turn around and engage the group, starting with Arc GK. You will note that Arc TT will have stayed behind, which is important, as the Ga spells that Arc TT can use can easily end your run while you deal with the rest of the mobs. Therefore, this leaves him all the way down at the bottom and for us to deal with last. Now, Valnariel will grab hate on all the mobs at the start of the run, and then you are just left to get damage in as fast as you can. Now, it's not going to seem like you're taking much damage or your group's taking much damage, but as the fight goes on, those AoEs that the angels are doing really start to add up and will drain your mage's MP pools. And without Seththus to restore them, you're going to soon find your mages out of MP. Now your goal is to finish Arc GK, Arc MR, and both pets before you wipe, leaving you with just 3 angels after you recover to get the win. Now Arc GK, while you're fighting him, is going to use his Dragonfall AoE weapon skill several times, which is going to find you and also he's going to skill chain while he uses his SP ability on Valnariel several times. Fortunately, Valnariel seems to survive this onslaught fairly well at this level. Now after GK is dead, switch to MR, who will use the AoE ability Havoc Spiral. Now make sure you're careful with your hate, as MR can use Charm if the fight happens to take too long, and if you have hate at the time that it's used, your run's pretty much over. Now fortunately, Perfect Dodge is used first, and even if you do have hate, this Perfect Dodge period of time is normally enough for you to lose the hate before such time that he uses Charm. You also want to use this time during Perfect Dodge to enfeeble MR to make sure the last part of the fight with her is as easy as possible. Now once she's dead, quickly take out the Wyvern and the summoned pet. Now at this point, you will normally find your mages are out of MP, so people are going to start dying. But you still want to keep going through and seeing if you can end up taking out ArcEV before that wipe occurs. Now ArcEV is going to use Dominion Slash as an AoE weapon skill ability, and also use two other nasty things. The first thing is Shield Strike, which will continually stun anyone in front of ArcV, and then additionally ArcEV is going to use Spirits Within that can do massive amounts of damage even to tanks and one-shot them. Now Invincible will be used during your fight with ArcEV, and Benediction, which is what's going to make this part of the run usually take the longest when you're taking on EV. However, if you can get past those SP abilities before you wipe, you can save yourself having to deal with them after you recover. Note that the ninja's ability of Majin Galcry is perfect for this run, as when you feel your group in danger and starting to wipe, you can easily use it to end the wipe, and then get back up without weakness and get right back to the action. Sadly, I planned poorly when I went ahead and took on this run, and as you'll see, I actually had about 40 minutes left on my timer for Majin Galcry, so I had to just take the death, wait those few minutes for the weakness to wear, resummon my pets, and get back into it. Now note, there's still plenty of time for you to do all that if you need to, it just of course greatly slows down your run. Note that if you do end up wiping, you want to make sure that you rest for the entire period of time while your weakness is there, so that once your weakness wears, you recover that hit points while resting as quickly as possible, as you do not want to engage the remaining 3 angels in the red hit points, as you obviously stand a chance of dying to a Gospel from ArcTT. Now you may also notice that I've been using remedies during this run. Now since Yoran Oran runs out of MP so quickly, it's quite possible you will get silenced and Yoran won't have the MP to get it off you. So I recommend doing the same and bringing a stack of remedies to you with this fight to keep getting that silence and other enfeebles off of you. Now once you have resummoned the same trust and recovered, are unweak, and are over 1,000 hit points, you can head back down to the battlefield to grab ArcEV and HM just like you did before by getting just close enough for them to start running towards you and then running right back up those stairs, leaving ArcTT down there on the battlefield once again. Now you want to start this stage by once again focusing on ArcEV. Now this will go fairly quickly if you are already able to get her to use both SP abilities, and of course a little bit longer if she has not used them yet. Now you should find that with only 2 angels left, your mages are now able to easily keep up with healing and maintaining their MP pools, so the fight is largely easy from this point forward. You want to finish off ArcEV and then of course switch to HM. Now HM will continually use Cross Reaver, which can do upwards of 1,000 damage to anyone in front of him. So try to make sure no one is standing behind Valnariel while you're fighting him. Now I failed to do this in my example, and you can actually see that Shantoto is definitely in danger by me doing this, so make sure to keep it in mind. Now similar to ArcMR, ArcHM won't use Majin Galcry, the most dangerous ability left, until after Mighty Strikes wears off. So you kind of have until that period of time to take his hit points down as far as you can, as about the only risk left here is Majin Galcry, and if it's used at a high hit point threshold left on ArcHM. Now once HM is dead, you just need to reapply any buffs that have worn, and then head down to take out that final angel, ArcTT. Now ArcTT is actually the quickest angel to take out, and that's actually a good thing, as ArcTT has access to several nasty abilities, including an AoE weapon skill called Amon Drive that both paralyzes and petrifies everyone in range. He will also use Mana Font and Blood Weapon, which can deal large amounts of damage if he is left to utilize them unimpeded. Now TT will also teleport around the arena, which is actually a good thing, as it gives you time to recast shadows before charging to his new location, and can also help spread out your trust to avoid them taking too much AoE damage during Mana Font. Now in regards to the gear I recommend for this particular run, I actually have very simple gear as you're seeing here, with the God gear we recently acquired as the main focus of this set. Now note, I do have an Octave Club in place for the offhand katana shown here, so that is speeding up our TP gain substantially. Now adding a Walhalla Turban and Dust Gloves would be a noticeable improvement to this set, and will be done in our next episode, when we take on a bunch of odds and ends before heading into Dynamis for the first time. Now this next episode will also include guides on the storage expansions and storage options, trust acquisition for this level, and getting Moghouse exits unlocked. That's about all I have to share for this particular fight. Let's go ahead and watch how the final angel goes, and then by heading back to the exact same blank spot just inside of the entrance to the shrine, we can select our reward. I of course chose the Supanomimi earring, which gives us a boost of 5% dual wield and 2 agility, which is very helpful in non-haste cap situations that we find ourselves in this early endgame content. Enjoy the rest of the run. That's going to be it for this episode of The Journey of CyberLogic. I hope you found that helpful. If this is your first visit to my channel and you enjoyed the content, please be sure to click the subscribe button under the video and the bell icon next to it to be notified when my future videos are released. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Stay safe and stay healthy out there.